Hi everybody, I'm Gordon Darcy, wildlife artist, and I'm going to show you how to draw some wildlife. Today we're going to start with birds, but the first thing I want to show you is the equipment that you'll need to draw along with me. You can see on this little table here beside me some of the materials that are used often in classrooms, but you can use them at home as well. We have this sketch pad, which you can use with colours of any kind. You can even use watercolour on those. But today we'll be concentrating on drawing. So pencils are most important. A HB and a 4B, or a 3 or a 4B. The HB to do the original starter shapes, the 4B for making the very strong imprint on the page. If you want to use colours, and most people do eventually, I would recommend just ordinary crayons, like those ones there, chublets. I use more professional ones like these ones here. These are artist crayons where you've got many different types of colour there, many different colours, and you can break them into small pieces and use them on their side like I do all the time. This is my nature manual, NatureArt, Nurture, to get it. And I just want to show you some starter shapes here to show you what I'm up to and the way I go about what I do. There are the starter shapes there. That's just a practice beforehand. If you wanted to draw animals, you can use the shape of a cashew nut. Horses, I would use a more rectangular or trapezoidal shape. Butterflies, creatures that live in the sea, all sorts of shapes are appropriate here. But today we're going to be looking at birds, and with birds I use ovals, and I'm going to do this shape here because I want to do the peregrine falcon, one of our most dynamic and dramatic birds. I'll put that back and I'll just show you how we go about this from the start. I'm using a flip chart, so it's a very big page, and I have two markers, one which is light with the ink nearly used up in it, and then one which is freshly inked, which I use for making a heavier imprint. So you'll see what I'm up to now. I'm going to use an oval to start with for the bird's shape. There's the oval for its shape. And I'm going to use, let's see, more of a circle for its head. There we go. So that's the starter shapes. It's almost like a snowman falling over on its side. Now, let's get the heavy marker going here to make the actual outline of the peregrine. So, it's got a very sharp beak like that. Hooked beak. It's a bird of prey, remember. And kind of fierce expression. A little white spot on the eye to make it look alive. Now, let's just go up here and draw the head around like that. And chin down here. And I'm going outside the line now because I'm going to make that as wings, that oval. Let me just get a little bit more work here. There we go. Right down the back. So, and then the wings will be folded and stuck out the back. One there. And you could cross them like that if you like, because it often does that. And the last thing we want to make, well, the second last thing is the tail. Tail's in here, it comes down like that. There's the tail. So let's have it standing then. So it's got a little kind of a trouser with feathers, like so. And very big feet for a bird. And I'll tell you why the feet are so big in just a minute. There, its toes. One coming out the back as well. Let me just do the other toe that you can just see in there. 3 in front, 1 behind. And then look at these great claws that it has. That's very significant because this is a bird of prey. It catches its prey by diving in the air from a great height and attacking smaller birds. So some of you may find that distasteful, but that's nature, red in tooth and claw. Okay, so let's get some features on it now that we've got the outline done. I won't draw the other leg. Suffice to say it's in there at the back because you're looking through the bird. But let's get this moustache on it. This is one of the features that it has that really distinguishes it from other birds. Kind of on the stash like that. Just kind of sweep over its eye, and then lots of feathers up here. I'll tell you what, rather than drawing the feathers, we'll amalgamate them into streaks like that. Still has that fierce expression. All birds of prey tend to have that fierce expression. And let's draw then some feathers on his back. Not too many, just a few to show that it's marked like that. And then similarly here with those little feathers there on the wing, and then very long feathers right out to the tip of the wing, like that. So I need to continue with the scalloping effect on the back before I put the marker down. Okay, and then it's got bands across its leg feathers like that. Okay, one more thing while I have the marker here. A black tip, not quite at the very end of the tail. Black tip there, and a few rather shady black marks across like that. Feathers there too. So there we have the outline done, and we can now think about colouring it in. So let's see, I wonder should I put some, yeah, well, I'll put some vegetation here and have him standing on a cliff. Would that be a good idea? Put a little bit of vegetation there, and standing on the cliff. That could be just grass growing out at the top. Like that. Yeah, a bit of grass there on the top of the cliff. We put some mountains in the background. Isn't that a good idea? Because that's where it actually lives, in mountainous regions like that. And it makes its nest up there, and then in the winter time it comes down to the coast and starts chasing after shorebirds. But when it lives up in the mountains, it's after birds like grey crows and the like. So now we're nearly ready to colour in. Oh, one more thing. I need to make these bands across his chest as well. A few spots there underneath there, which become bands as you go right down the front. Okay, we put the marker down now, and we'll get on with the colouring in. You can see just how white it is here on the cheek. I'll just emphasise that with my crayon. Then underneath it's got a kind of a pinky, fleshy colour right here in the chest. Just there. And then underneath where there's no sun getting it, it'll be looking slightly grey like that. It's in shadow. Shadow like that. So the back is a dark blue colour, a dark bluey grey colour, and I have a crayon just about the right colour here. So I'll just go over this nice and heavy so that you can see this right up over the top of its head as well. Kind of a dark bluey grey colour like that. I might need to go over that with another crayon to emphasise that blueness. But at least you can see the main part of the colour there, right down to the tip. And also on the tail, same colour. There we go. I'll get my black crayon here. Oops, I've dropped my crayon. These are waxy and inclined to slip out of your hand unless you've got a good grip on them. There we go, getting that black tip coming in there like that. Another one down here. Now it's beginning to shape up. It's beginning to look like a peregrine. Some dark on the tip of its beak as well. The beak will look a bit shiny as I've done it there. Now, let's get the yellow out, because it has bright yellow on the top of its beak, just here. That's called a sear. Bright yellow in round its eye there, like that as well. And right down at the feet, you've got this bright yellow colour again. Now, anyone that has seen a peregrine hunting will never forget it. It's one of those extraordinary sights. It flies away up in the air, often spooking its prey down below, and then with its wings closed it drops like a stone, and impacts on its prey at about 100 miles an hour. Kills it stone dead, usually a pigeon or something like that, then flies down and settles on it. So it's quite a sight. You'll never forget it if you see it. It's the fastest flying bird, certainly in Britain and Ireland, but it might be one of the fastest flying birds in the world. So let's get a bit of purple for the background here for the mountains. Lilac's a good colour as well. When you look at mountains away in the distance, they take on that kind of purpley, lilac-y hue. Like that. Okay, I'm going to put some colour on the side of the mountain here as well, because there's always lots of grass growing up the side of these mountains. Maybe not on the top. Continue with this down here. I'll put some colour on the hillside as well with the grass growing, and maybe a little bit of blue in the sky. It's not always grey in the mountains. A little bit of blue like that, some background to the picture. So here's our peregrine sitting on his perch on the top of the mountain, where it makes its nest, in fact. And the nest is usually on the ledge of a mountain, like this one here. 2 or 3 eggs laid. The eggs are deep brown, blotched brown eggs, which take about 3 weeks to hatch out, and then the young are born. And the female peregrine has to look very carefully after the young ones. So she's bigger than the male. The male would have this killing tendency, this killing instinct, if you like, and she has the maternal instinct to look after them. She also brings bigger prey whenever the young birds need that, to nourish them, to give them the food that they need so that they can fend for themselves. And then the peregrines leave the mountains in the winter time, and they go off down to the shore, and they hunt for ducks and wading birds and the like. And this aggressive tendency that the peregrine has is greatly valued by falconers and people who keep falcons for hunting, like the Arabs and the Mongolian tribespeople and so on. So peregrines have for centuries been taken from their nests and trained to hunt prey. Some of the Irish lords, for instance, paid the rent to their English overlords with rent falcons. So the peregrine falcon then is one of those extraordinary birds, one of those dynamic species that many people never get a chance to see. But in recent years, they've moved into the cities, and they're even in some places nesting on the tops of high buildings where there's plenty of pigeons to catch. Of course, the pigeon fanciers are up in arms about this, but I suppose they're opportunistic as well. And nature's always in a state of change, so we just have to learn to live with that. Okay?